Buff Metal back with another video. What is going on, guys? Today, the subject of the video is going to be what is the WTF factor that I consider all of the great death metal, black metal, extreme metal projects to contain. We're going to get into that. Before I do, I wanted to run some stuff by you guys for the channel, and this is where you guys help me decide where I'm going to take a turn here in the future. A few things. I heard about this thing called Twitch streaming. I was thinking of bringing back Radio 666, in the Sit and Spin series and doing it on there and just opening up, live streaming a couple times a week, maybe once a week or twice a week or something like that, and having you guys, come hang out. And I'll spin records. We can talk about them and listen to them. The problem with doing it on YouTube is just the copyright stuff, and I don't know. It's just, it's no good for my channel. It doesn't really do much, so that's kind of why I stopped doing it. That being said, I would like to do more where I sit and spin records. Also, I would love to get a fitness company going. If you guys have any interest in me starting personal training stuff, please let me know that as well. And there was one other thing. God damn it. Oh, yeah. Well, actually, no, I'll save the other one. But regardless, between those two, is there any interest in that? If I was to start live streaming records, would you guys watch? Doing like little radio parties. Maybe I'd upload them too so you guys could listen to them later, but we'd have to see down the line. Regardless, those are my ideas. And God, dude, if you guys need fitness help, please, I'd love for you to hit me up, even if the thing hasn't started yet. I want to make the cheapest, most affordable fitness help for metalheads out there on the market. But without further ado, man, let's get right into it. The WTF factor. What is it that makes extreme metal great, in my opinion? Well, it is the WTF factor. And what do I mean by this? All right, so there is something in music that, especially in extreme music, that I basically believe fuels the best of it, and that is the embrace of absurdism. Absurdism. All right, if you've ever heard this term before, you know what it means. It's basically the idea that life is absurd. And this is where we get back into my philosophy, right? Life is absurd, and I like things that kind of embrace the absurdity of life. And that is, I believe, how I found myself so deeply involved in extreme metal, because I like things that are over the top and match what I believe the energy of the universe and all that stuff around us to be, right? So when I think about why I love extreme metal and what makes it cool or whatever, it's that it's absurd. So I guess I got a stack of albums here. We can start talking about these. Let's talk about an old band. We'll start with a black metal band. The first time I heard this band, you want to talk about something I considered absurd, dude, Burzum. And I know, man, people all have their takes on this band, but fuck you, this is my channel. Basically what I'm getting at is the first time I heard Ea Lord of the Depths or something like those vocals, those classic Varg vocals that were on the first Burzum full length, dude, the feeble screams from the Forest Unknown, just all this stuff. Wow, this one's called wow. Dude, there was something about it where it's there was nothing about him that sounded like he was trying to be cool, right? So you listen to some of the Mayhem stuff, especially on Death Crush and stuff like that, and to me it's not that I don't like it. I like Death Crush and stuff like that, but Euronymous had that arrogance to him. I feel, I'm not a historian and I didn't know him personally, so what do I really know at the end of the day? Nothing. But the point is Varg had this way of making, especially when you watch him as a person, he's just very, kind of, not stoic, but kind of, you know what I mean? He seems very like a grounded person. So the fact that someone like Varg would make something like this, the first time I heard this shit, dude, I started laughing. You understand? So that I found this to be a common theme among albums that I would find that I really liked, is I'd have this reaction of almost just what the fuck? And this is what I'm getting at with the video, the WTF factor. And yeah, this is one of the earliest examples I can think of, that had that. Now, another early example, we're going see, this is the extreme metal starter pack stuff here, but I wanted to bring this album out the other day. The Bleeding. What makes The Bleeding so great? Now, dude, you could have pulled out this or Tomb of the Mutilated to make my point, because, dude, the first time, those vocals come in on Hammer Smash Face, that's its own conversation too. But when you hear stripped and strangled, I don't know if I can say the other word because of the YouTube or whatever, but the first time you hear it, they think they know who I am. All I know is I love to kill. And especially compared to the last few albums, like the build up to the bleeding, by the time you get there and you hear Chris Barnes singing like that, and it's kind of like, again, it hit me as, I heard Tomb of the Mutilated first. So when I get to the bleeding and I hear him singing like that, and it's a lot more like songy and stuff like that, you know what I mean? This isn't happening, pulverize. Then an Experiment in Homicide is up there for one of my favorite Cannibal Corpse tracks. The bleeding, all so good. But like the catchiness, and especially just Stripped, dude, like on that track, dude, that blew my mind when I first heard it. Because again, I don't think I'd ever heard anything so catchy in extreme metal. And it gave me that, what the fuck? What is that? You know what I'm saying? And I think that's my favorite thing, dude, is like when a band or an artist or an album or whatever can make me feel like mind blown, And so the bands that I'm talking about so far, they all did that. They all made me feel this sense of like, what the fuck, dude? Dude, it's kind of my favorite feeling. I've looked for this down the road, another band, we'll go back to black metal quick. Dude, the first time I heard Goat Moon, Death Before Dishonor, again, the vocals, like on Cunha Armageddon, or, some of the other tracks on here, which I love, which I don't even know if I can say some of these, But, the point is, man, is like, Goat Moon was another one of those bands, when I first heard it, again, you look at the album cover, dude, you listen to the vocals, the production. I always say, dude, the cymbals, they sound like clashing swords on this album, dude. It's fucking kind of hilarious, dude. And the raw-ass production, something about this album, dude, it makes me laugh, but at the same time, it's fucking badass. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's kind of my favorite spot to find myself in. If you're a band, dude, if you can hit that, now, you can't be a joke, right? You can't be just like a fucking Tenacious D. I like Tenacious D, but you can't be a joke gimmick band, all right? That's one of those things that I'm like, I'm not really here to listen to parody bands, like Cannabis Corpse or something like that, maybe is a better example. Not that, I haven't listened to them, maybe they're really good, but I think the gimmick always kind of put me off, right? But that being said, you need to have that level where it takes it over the top. And I think when you go over the top, that's when you get that reaction out of me that it's like it's halfway between like, this is hilarious and low-key maybe kind of scary. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the only way I know how to describe it. It comes back to my philosophy on things, the absurd, Let's grab another album here that kind of matches that. I don't know if I can show this one because there's nudity on it, but we'll probably bust it out at the end. Let's see, here we got one of my favorite brutal death metal albums of all time. It was in my top 10. Paemia with Cerebral Serial, dude. The first time I heard this, again, you pick this up, you look at the album cover, Cerebral Serial. You know what I'm saying? It's a dude with a wrench eating a brain. You flip it over, you read the track titles, Gorging on Mucus and Bile. Then you look at these dudes, look at how like creepy these dudes look, you know what I'm saying? But at the same time, there's a song on here called Sugar Spiced Anus. Dude, do you see the point I'm trying to make here? You know what I'm saying? It's not like, it's funny because in hitting this mix, they become cool. Like, all these guys kind of, that's where you get like cool guy points almost, is for hitting that mix of like, whatever that is that I'm trying to explain, you know what I'm saying? But I think if you lean too hard, I think a lot of brutal death metal bands do this nowadays, or especially like hardcore bands, I always found why it always turned me off to it. If there are like if there's too much like cool guy action, like trying to be cool action, like I feel like I can sense it, sniff it out, and I don't like it. But if it has that almost like, dude, it's a great band for this example, like Lividity. You know what I'm saying? Lividity is a great example of like being like a pretty funny band, but low-key scary at the same time, especially like, the earlier stuff. So, yeah, man, Cerebral Serial, Paemia. If you never listen to this, dude, I almost feel I'm happy for you, bro, because it's like, dude, it doesn't get better than this, man. This is like some of the best shit out there. Dude, check out, my favorite song on here is actually Impaled on Spikes, dude. It's fucking epic, dude. So, yeah, if you never heard that, that's a prime example of things that make you go, WTF. Or, dude, a bunch of nerds made this album, and this is a classic, and, this horse has been beat to death, but I'll leave this as my last example. Exhumed with gore metal, dude. Come on. See, this is one of those things where it's like, look at that album cover. It instantly, even before I liked Exhumed, because I didn't always like Exhumed. When I first heard him, dude, and this is obviously the album I went to first. I don't know if it was the production, not being able to hear the riffs as much. I initially brushed Exhumed off, you know, and nowadays I'm like, but I mean, they're one of my favorites of all time. That being said, you know what? A lot of my favorite extreme metal bands, I found that when I first heard them, I'd either go, you know what I mean? But over time, they grew on me. Big one, again, is like Lividity, and I just keep going back to them because recently I've been listening to them a lot. But the point is with Exhumed and gore metal, is the album cover, man, sucked me in just for, dude, just look at it. Just look at it, dude. Like, come on, a chainsaw. It's like a heavy metal dude with a chainsaw in a kitchen. It looks so like homemade and classic or something like that too. Almost like it could have happened in your grandparents' house, you know, and it's just fucking sick, dude. And, you know, then they have the catchy ass songs to match it, dude. All my favorite tracks on here, obviously Necromaniac, Open the Abscess, which I fucking sit around trying to play on the guitar for hours back in the day, Enucleation, In My Human Slaughterhouse. This is a 10, man. If there ever was like you know, well, I'm sure there's lots of 10s in underground and extreme metal, but this is an absolute flawless 10, and it is absurd. The production is absurd. The tracks, the rhythms and stuff, they're absurd. Listen to In My Human Slaughterhouse, dude. Again, a riff so heavy, I start laughing. You know what I'm saying, dude? But yeah, man, that's it. That's all I wanted to rant about. It was just kind of like absurdism and its role in extreme metal. So like, if you're trying to make something, dude, maybe try and keep that in mind. You know what I'm saying? All you artists out there, you know, maybe look at it more like, let's try and make something. We're not trying to be badasses or cool. Like, let's make something that fucks people's heads up. You know what I'm saying? That gets in someone's head and makes you go, what the fuck? You know, I think that's the key. But anyways, that's it. Hoo-hoo.